War. Usually, it's something that actually happened. But what if it wasn't? What if it was just a massive, extremely well-constructed hoax, presumably by some teacher to provide ammunition for the argument that Wikipedia isn't a reliable source? The Bikalim conflict would step up to the plate to answer that question. Contested between the Portuguese and the Maratha over concerns of oppression of Hindus, the war would begin after a series of events involving the Dutch blockading the region and a guy even forming the Maratha Empire in the first place. The Maratha from 1635 to 1640 would work to gain alliances with their borders besides their southern frontier. However, the starving native Goans by this point had essentially become allied with the Maratha by now, leaving just the Portuguese and Goa as true enemies. In January 1640, the Marathans attempted to establish diplomatic relations with the Portuguese, who due to influences from external powers were unable to establish peace in the region. This failure to establish diplomacy led to the secular Marathans, who already weren't all too keen with the Salem witch trial stuff going on in Goa, to send troops to patrol the border. By mid-February, the Portuguese had begun to monitor the presence of Marathans in Bikalim, and plans for war tediously began. They were all cancelled, however, due to fears the Maratha would ally with the Dutch. The conflict truly began when the Maratha were falsely given word that there was Portuguese forces at Imbimpur. After a while of battles with little real progress on either side, or fake progress rather, considering none of this is real, the Maratha revised their strategy, moving to Bikalim, successfully winning a barrage of attacks against the Portuguese in the surrounding towns, leading to a long-term back and forth at the pivotal Battle of Vahadejo, which after the intense Maratha offensives trying to liberate the city, Portuguese forces retreated, pretending to surrender and then laying siege the next morning. By November, the Portuguese had taken the city and families had begun leaving. However, just when the war seemed over, the religious persecution of Hindus by the Portuguese led to uprisings en masse, which allowed the Marathans to negotiate a more favorable treaty, seeing as uprisings would keep happening without. The treaty was signed and religious persecution and uprisings were greatly reduced. Or so we're told, because as you can probably guess by the title, thumbnail, intro, and a few lines in this video, the whole thing never happened. Hey you, join my Discord, link in description. Remember to subscribe also.